Sega's 32X console may have been one of its biggest failures, but that didn't mean it had some absolutely stunning games on it. In today's show, we're going to be taking a look at 10 games that are still great to play on Sega's 32X. My name's Mike, and this is the Retro Gamer Boy Show. The Sega 32X, whilst looked down upon many, was one of my most favourite consoles. I only had a few games for it, but the games I had were absolutely amazing. And still today, I have a lot of them on my shelf and play them regularly, and they are great. They stand up to even some of the biggest AAA titles in recent years. So here are 10 games that I think are still great to play on Sega's 32X. Imagine a game that merges Prince of Persia and Flashback, then mixes in some Blizzard fantasy worlds, and you get Blackthorn, one of the best games that graces the Sega 32-bit add-on. Blackthorn is a game that first appeared on the PC and Super Nintendo and was published by Blizzard. The game was also in development for the Sega Genesis before it was decided that it would actually come to Sega's 32X instead. This upgrade in hardware wasn't ignored, and the team set to work in redoing all the visuals of the game, replacing the pixel art for pre-rendered sprites and adding in a new level. The game plays very much like Prince of Persia, Fade to Black, Another World, and other games in this platform genre. You navigate the world by traversing platforms and jumping gaps, with some lovely rotoscoped animation. There are gating mechanic puzzles and a strong narrative that runs throughout the game. Blackthorn also leans more into an action-orientated experience, with your character being armed with a shotgun and a variety of grenades. There's also an interesting cover mechanic, where your player can duck into the shadows of the backgrounds to avoid oncoming attacks. The quality of this game is clear, as it's also been released on modern consoles like the Nintendo Switch. Doom on the Sega 32X is far from being the best version of the game, but it is Doom in every way that counts. Gun gameplay is still as great as the original, with some nice technical performance, especially when compared to other more powerful console ports like the Sega Saturn. The game is missing full screen gameplay and has a border around the screen. This was to ensure that gameplay performance was the best it could be while still hitting the dev team's extremely short development schedule. Because of the rush to get the game out, it also has some levels and enemies missing. Doom on the 32X was also the first ever console version of the game. Doom is still Doom, and the 32X version is a great game in its own right, when not compared to more superior versions of the game on the PC and PlayStation. There's also a version of the game built by indie developers that fixes a lot of the complaints with the original 32X game, with different resolutions, better lighting, better enemy AI, improved visuals and performance, and a far better soundtrack. This updated version is called Doom Resurrection if you want to check it out. Despite all of its shortcomings though, the game is still capable of putting a great big smile on your face. 𝗵𝗺𝗵 is a full 3D mech first-person shooter. It sees you stomping around different cityscapes as you take out enemy mechs, tanks and vehicles. The fully 3D textured world and mech HUD help immerse you into the world, and choosing your loadouts between missions adds additional depth to the game. The secret to this game though, and while it's still playable today, is its simplicity. While other early 3D games tried to do too much with the new technology and ended up with confusing or boring experiences, 𝗵𝗺𝗵 settled for just making a solid and fun first-person shooter in a polygonal world. For me, Virtua Racer Deluxe is one of the best racing games of its time. The racing physics and 3D visuals made it a racing experience that few had thought possible. Multiple camera angles and fast arcade driving made this game instantly appealing. And while today its polygonal worlds and cars are simple, there's a charm to the art, and it feels almost stylized rather than a product of hardware limitations. In the game you can choose from 3 car types: Formula 1, stock cars, or prototype. Each car handles differently, and you'll race against the same class of car that you've chosen. There are also 5 tracks to master. Completing these on normal and getting first on all of them will also unlock mirror mode. The game also supports 2-player split screen and has an awesome soundtrack. Star Wars Arcade brings the classic arcade game to Sega's 32-bit console add-on and does a fairly good job. There's the classic arcade experience and a 32X mode that adds more levels to the game. The game is missing some of the action of the arcade original, with less objects on screen like meteors and TIE fighters, but it retains the essence of the game and the authentic Star Wars feel. A well-implemented control system also means that the game is aged well despite not having the 2 thumbsticks, and blowing up TIE fighters never gets old.
Head fake from downtown. No good.
NBA Jam Tournament Edition is considered by many to be one of the best home conversions of the arcade game, and in some places surpasses it. The game retains the pure offense-defense gameplay and has all the iconic sound bites from the announcer, but it also introduces smooth sprite scaling, allowing players to appear bigger as they get closer to the camera. NBA Jam Tournament Edition is one of those games that even if you hate sports games, you can enjoy this game. The simple controls and refined gameplay gave this a real arcade appeal. Just like if you don't like racing games, you can still enjoy Outrun or Ridge Racer. It also doesn't take itself seriously, with big-headed NBA stars, superhuman dunks, and the ability to set the ball on fire for a guaranteed dunk. The game is a ton of fun, and even today it stands above many of the million-dollar AAA blockbusters on modern consoles.
From downtown, we're heating up. From downtown. Fight. 1, ready, go.
Virtua Fighter took the world by storm in 1993 as the first 3D fighter with a new arena navigation system that allowed players to not only fight from left to right, but to actually move and dodge around their opponent. Its simple control system of block, punch and kick make it instantly accessible to any player at any level, but its in-depth combo system ensures the game has depth and long-term appeal. The port to the Sega 32X was excellent. It was obviously not as smooth and was missing details in the visuals, but its simple 3D arenas with 2D backgrounds and its blocky character art style meant that you hardly noticed the difference. The core combat gameplay is so well designed and balanced that the game stands up even today. Because the team didn't go for a more complex system like Street Fighter, it retains that simple to play, hard to master aspect, and so you can jump into a game of Virtua Fighter today and instantly feel gratification. The game is also arguably better than the initial Saturn version of the game, which felt rushed and unfinished.
Welcome to the camp. Get ready.
Space Harrier is an awesome arcade shooter from 1985. The arcade shooter has a great soundtrack, impressive scaling sprite visuals, and classic arcade fun. The 32X version of the game comes very close to being arcade perfect. It retains all of the great shoot-'em-up action from the arcade original and is a veritable pixel fest on screen. Space Harrier is also one of those games that has an almost timeless feel to it. Great gameplay with lovely pixel art and a fantastic soundtrack. Stellar Assault is a flat-shaded 3D space shooter much in the same vein as Star Wars Arcade. The game revolves around a massive invading force entering your home system, and you are commanding the only capable ship of taking on this enemy. You start the game with the choice of two ships, one fast and nimble, the other armoured with a stronger but slower firing weapon. Unlike Star Wars Arcade on the 32X that has you taking on primarily TIE fighters, your main enemy is an assortment of huge capital ships armed with various weapon batteries. The game has a ton of options, including being able to play the game as an on-rail shooter rather than a sandbox shooter. Once you finish the game, you can also get a full replay of your space adventure. Stellar Assault's clean-looking art style and compelling shoot-'em-up gameplay makes it a great game to play even today. Knuckles Chaotix is the only Sonic game to appear on the 32X, if you can call it a Sonic game at all, as it doesn't feature Sonic. The game follows Knuckles as he tries to stop Dr. Robotnik stealing all the Chaos Rings. These are rings infused with Chaos Emerald energy. Knuckles teams up with the Chaotix, an eclectic cast of characters. Sonic fans expecting a more traditional platforming game that the series is built around will not find it here. Knuckles Chaotix is instead built around speed, and it's an interesting gameplay mechanic that has two characters connected by what is essentially a rubber band. The rubber band allows you to catapult yourself across the level at speeds not seen in a Sonic game before this. The increased speed does come at a cost though, with the level structure being more simple and some of the great platforming challenge removed. The game also has an interesting mini-game that sees your character falling down the shaft as you attempt to get rings and items. There are also some awesome 3D special stages that are slower and more platform-like. The game is bright and colourful, but misses out on details you'd find in other Sonic games. But this may be on purpose given the speed you're travelling at. Knuckles Chaotix is a solid fun game that will still bring a smile to your face today as long as you're not expecting a traditional Sonic game. So there you have it, 10 games that I still think are great to play on your Sega 32X. Remember to jump down into the comments below and let everyone know about games that you still think are great and stand up to even some of the biggest AAA titles of today. Now, if you've enjoyed today's show and you're new to the channel, why not consider subscribing? You can do this by clicking on a little button just below this video. We make brand new shows every single Monday, and so that you don't miss one, you can also click on a little bell, also just below the video. Now, if you can't wait until next Monday, don't worry, because we've got a huge back catalogue of retro gaming videos for you to enjoy, 2 of which you can watch over here.